Unleashed. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt Demaz here, and welcome to episode 8 of the Matt Demaz Unleashed podcast. So, today, let's talk about an individual who was pretty big in the wrestling world in the 90s, well, 80s, actually. Just the 90s, I think. I don't think he wasn't anything special in the 80s. He's the hardcore legend. Multiple WWE championship title holder, title winner, I should say. I don't know. King of the Death Match. One tough son of a bitch. I'm of course referring to Mick Foley. Now, here's the thing about Mick Foley that I think it was pretty captivating quite quickly about him. It was the fact that his character going into WWF was like one of the darkest characters they've ever seen in quite some time, or if not the most darkest. And I think that was kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing of what was to come later, the next couple of years when they would eventually roll out the Attitude Era. I got a feeling Vince wanted to do something, change things up as early as 96. That being said, they didn't really do much changing. 96 is a very bizarre year, to say the least. But yeah, but anyway, with Mick Foley, he was willing to put his body on the line for people's entertainment, and when the King of the Ring happened in 98 and he got thrown off the Hell in the Cell onto an announce table and then into concrete, I think everyone realized the dangers of, and how, and started to respect the wrestlers a little bit more when it came to, them putting their bodies on the line for their enjoyment. And Foley, after the King of the Ring, even though he was technically a heel around that time, I think, he got over pretty quickly. He just instantly just got over massively. Like, the signs in the crowd, you just see Foley as God. And, I don't know how that guy managed to put himself through that and survive, because, he could have easily died. If he would have landed on his head, that would have been the end of it. And that's the thing that is amazing about Mick's career. He's just put himself through so much torment and pain and agony and risked his life. He's lost body parts because of the whole thing with Vader when he got his ear ripped off, literally ripped off his ear. I mean, it's like, come on, this guy really loved what he did, to be able to sacrifice your body like that. It really takes a lot of guts and a lot of testicular fortitude, as he would put it. But yeah, Foley, he was quite the enigma throughout the Attitude Era. He was just this weirdo that wore a mask and a suit and tie, or some sort of shirt with a tie. It was kind of like a metaphor. I always thought of it as like a metaphor for mankind. Because like he did some terrible things to himself, and having the name Mankind was kind of rather symbolic, because mankind's going through all this pain. Mankind's like, nearly killing itself and whatnot. It was pretty interesting to see, to say the least, when it came to gimmicks. And that's what I really liked about the Mankind character, how it kind of embodied humanity, and how it was slowly starting to, eat itself and destroy itself. It was, and the Mick Foley's mic work was probably some of the best mic work you'll ever hear in professional wrestling. He was so believable, and he would constantly go off script. He would constantly improvise. He would literally bring in real life events into his promos and just make it as believable as possible. And I think a lot of people like that about his work in the ring as well. His ability to cut promos was just absolutely unmatched. At least for the most part. I think there was there might have been some better talkers here and there, but I mean, from what I can remember, Mick Foley was one of the best talkers in the business. And, you know, that was definitely something that helped propel his career. I mean, as soon as he left ECW and went to WWF, I mean, he had insane mic work in ECW, and him being able to, he had a bit of a slow start in WWF, because, as most people do when they come from a different promotion, but, it's like, well, except for a couple of people. I remember when Big Show went to the WWF, he was already the champion within a few months, which is pretty funny. But, it's like, as I say, with Mick Foley, his mic work was what made him very, very, likable by Vince. Vince was really impressed with, Mick Foley's performances and the willingness to, do all that terrible stuff to himself. And, with the matches he'd had with Terry Funk, where they were literally bordering on, fucking killing each other. It was just, and Vince obviously saw something there. Otherwise, he wouldn't have hired Mick to join the WWF. So, and I've heard "Have a Nice Day" so many times, the audiobook version of Mick Foley's book, and he always talks about how that transition from ECW, a lot of people thought he was selling out or whatever. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I would believe it if it was true. I do believe the fans obviously might have been felt betrayed, but at the same time, it was a great opportunity for Mick to make some serious money, as a reward for all the torture he's put himself through. I mean, the guy deserved it. He deserved a shot at the big time. So honestly, I didn't really see an issue with him, going where he went, because he ended up becoming a top superstar and WWF champion multiple times. So, I mean, he won the championship like 3 times, I think. Can't remember. But, and he was hardcore champion, the original hardcore champion. Here's the thing that I kind of don't like about the new product. You know how like last year Mick Foley brought out the 24/7 title and everyone booed it? Yeah. Why didn't they just bring back the Hardcore Championship? I mean, granted, the 24/7 Championship was one of the best things about Raw. It actually made me want to go back and check some Raw out. But other than that, it was, everyone knew. Like, just bring back the Hardcore Championship, But, because it's the fucking goo goo gaga baby era, you can't be having, people hitting each other with stuff that often. It's got to be, PG. It's, I don't know. It just feels really dumb. It's the 24/7 title just seems like such a cop out, especially with Mick Foley presenting it. I mean, he had to be thinking to himself, what the fuck are they thinking with this shit? He must have knew the crowd would boo it, I mean, come on. That was ridiculous. They should have brought back the hardcore title, in my opinion, but, whatever. Yeah, it would probably be a fun thing to see live, like, some hardcore matches, like, looking up on the Titantron and see people backstage beating the shit out of people. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, yeah, that one time I went to, I actually, dropped the link in the timestamps, list, or I guess you could call it, a show note. I actually posted a link to the show I went to. It was, in Brisbane, in April 2005. Let me just bring it up here on the computer. Yeah, Tommy Dreamer wasn't there, but Tommy Dreamer recently came to Brisbane doing his House of Hardcore thing. That's what was going through my mind when I said, "Oh, I think Tommy Dreamer was there." No, he wasn't at that show that I went to in particular. The show that I attended was a part of the WWE Australian Tour, April 2005, and it was in Brisbane. It took place on April 7, 2005 at the Entertainment Centre in Brisbane, Australia. So, basically, you had William Regal, Tajin, the Hurricane man. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Kristen, Val Venus, Victoria, Molly Holly, Shelton Benjamin. I had Kane and Edge. That was a great fight. I love that. Batista, Chris Benoit versus Ric Flair and Triple H was the. I think that was the main event. So yeah, that was a fun time to watch that. You know, it was one of the few times I ever bothered watching wrestling live. It was probably the only time I ever watched WWE live. So yeah. But anyway, back on topic. Mick Foley, you know, he was definitely a character, and he had multiple alter egos. He had Cactus Jack, which was his hardcore persona. He had Dude Love, which was originally what he wanted to be. That was what he originally wanted to call himself, because he did like a home video, showcasing this Dude Love character. And yeah, I always thought that was interesting that he was able to, bring that back. And it was all Micks and Vince's idea, I believe. But yeah, so. Apparently, here's a fun fact. One of my friends that I taught, actually Gold818, he actually went to school with Mick Foley's son, Dewey Foley, in Long Island. So that's interesting. So that must have been so weird. I kind of feel bad for the kid. You know, everyone asking about his dad and everything. I mean, Jesus Christ. His father would have been raking in some good money for him, so he probably had a good, education, but it must have sucked to, have a star as a dad, I mean, all the kids fucking, making fun of you or whatever. Well, probably not making fun of you. It looked like he was a happy kid, though. There was some genuine pictures of him smiling with friends or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of cool to know somebody that knows the son of Mick Foley. New. I don't know if they really know each other now. So yeah, the thing that really kicked off Mick's whole career was the feud with Vader. That was what was really starting to give him attention. And then the jump to ECW, where he just went all out with his promos, and then eventually Vince was like, "Hey, let's take you in," and it was all like uphill from there. The Ballroom Brawl match that he had in when was it? 96. Man, that was one of the first really good matches pre-Attitude Era. It was probably, the whole... You see, this is what I was talking about. There was always glimpses of the Attitude Era before it officially was a thing, And I think the Ballroom Brawl and Austin's 316 promo and all that, and Brian Pillman's Got a Gun. They're good examples of, the edginess sneaking its way into the product at the time, which I always thought it was interesting. Mankind and Undertaker's rivalry is definitely one of the best ones. Was fantastic. And the payoff from that rivalry with this King of the Ring, I guess. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the locker room, Mick Foley pretty much gained massive respect after that King of the Ring match. So, I guess that King of the Ring, Undertaker basically made Mankind famous. That was Undertaker's line throughout his American Badass phase or whatever. He's like, "I'm gonna make you famous," and stuff like that. But I mean, Undertaker definitely made Mankind's Attitude Era run extremely memorable, to say the least. But anyway, Mick Foley eventually became the WWF champion, and became the commissioner. Honestly, his run as the commish in 2000 is probably one of the best fucking things I've ever seen from that era. It was just amazing. All those, this backstage promos where he's got the little cactus and the puppy dog or whatever, or whatever it was. It's just, he's and that's final, and stuff like that. It's just amazing, very memorable. And Mick Foley said it's probably some of the most fun he's ever had. working in the WWF, just sitting there, just cracking jokes every day and getting paid for it. I mean, fuck, one of the best jobs in the world, am I right? But yeah, he eventually left in 2001, I believe. He kind of just, went after he returned in October 2001, I think. I don't know, I can't remember, but yeah. After that, Mick Foley just kind of went back to the indie circuit. And, yeah, he just messed around and wrestled with other people. He returned to WWE in 2003. He had various feuds with people and had a pretty good match with Randy Orton. Actually, Mick Foley was in the best shape of his life during one particular match. I can't remember which one it was exactly. I wish I could, but he was looking really good. If you'll give me a second here, I'll quickly Google it. Yeah, Randy Orton was amazing when he debuted. He was extremely good. Yeah, I think it was Backlash 2004, I believe. Let me just quickly glance through this. Give me a second here. Yeah, Mick Foley, Backlash 2004. Yep, definitely looked in the best shape of his life here. Like, he just looked fantastic. Well, 2004, he was in great shape in general, so, it makes sense. Yeah, he worked really hard and lost a lot of weight and that, but, yeah, no holds barred, that's the match. So, yeah, Backlash 2004, pretty cool. So yeah, that was a thing, I guess. And then Mick just, kind of just went to commentary and just did whatever, and yeah, he's kind of just hanging around now, just being Raw's general manager and all that. It can't really say he's really done anything else notable recently, which kind of sucks. I was hoping, he would at least, do something else, but apparently not. He kind of just exists now, which kind of sucks, but hey, Mick Foley, man, he's had a great career. He's done a lot of amazing things, and, he's a benevolent person. He's done a lot of humanitarian stuff, a lot of, what is it called? Someone that donates money to a lot of people. Let me just, let me use the power of Google again. Give me a second. Is it Philanthropy? Is that what it's called? No, I don't think that's what it's called. I can't remember. Just give me his writing career. He's done a lot of activism, which is interesting. Oh wow, Foley actually has support for the Democratic Party. Ooh, that's spicy. Oh, what are you gonna do? Let's see. Let's have a looky-loo here. Is it called Philanthropy? Yeah, Philanthropy. It's such a weird word. I always get that confused with misanthropy, which is like hatred for humans or whatever. I don't know how I get those two mixed up. Misanthropy. Jesus Christ. But no, it's I tell you what, man, there's some pretty interesting matches here. Cactus Jack debut, when he No Way Out 2000, when he fell through the cage and broke the ring, pretty awesome sight to behold. It wasn't really as epic as the King of the Ring, but hey, yeah, that was some amazing matches. There was one with Shawn Michaels, I think. Was it Mind Games? Let me look this up. Mankind, Shawn Michaels. I think it was Mind Games. I could be wrong about that. Let me just, yeah, Shawn Michaels versus Mankind in your house, Mind Games. When was this? 1996. Yeah, that was, oh wow, that match. Let me just run this up here and just have a look at it while I'm talking about it. Holy shit. This match, man, it goes full. Wow, it's got a very long run time here. It's actually one of Mick Foley's favorite matches ever, which, I mean, fair. That's a fair opinion. I mean, it's wow. So he's got his brown attire here, looking like a fucking caveman or whatever they tried to do. It's probably not his best outfit, but you work with what you got at the time. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was in great form here. He was really he was really in his prime here. Very good. And yeah, Shawn Michaels gearing up for his sweet chin music, and he missed it. Mick just rolls out of the ring, and then he starts rocking back and forth like he's having a panic attack or whatever. And there's Paul Bearer there, I think. Is that Paul Bearer? I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's weird. But about halfway through the match here, where things get interesting, they were trying new things, like oh yeah, doing the hitting Mick's head on the steel steps and whatever. I don't think that was even really a thing that was done that often at that time, I believe. I could be wrong, but I remember Shawn Michaels saying that during this match they did a lot of new tricks with moves, and yeah, a lot of the stuff here, like the suplex into the steel steps and all that was pretty cool. I remember seeing in an interview with Shawn Michaels wishes he could have done a lot more with Mick during that time. Because they could have done tried out some new stuff. It's cool that as early back as 1996, these guys were trying to, go into a new direction, and I definitely can respect that. That's definitely the right thing to do. That was definitely a good thing to do at the time, especially when everyone around that era was just sick of WWF. Well, starting to get sick of it. I mean, there were still people to watch, but the ratings were going down, so it was nice that they at least tried to make things exciting. So when Dude Love debuted, it was kind of interesting. Stone Cold's reaction was priceless. Actually, I think that's one of the best sells he's ever done. Yeah, it was good, really good. While we're on the subject, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the dude, but it was really just Mick Foley as just Dude Love, so his moveset wasn't that much different from his normal moveset. Like, he had the double arm DDT, Manimal Core, I think. So, it was just like watching another version of Mankind, more or less. Although a little bit more hipper and knew how to dance. I always thought Dude Love always kind of looked like a hippie. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. It kind of looked like a hippie mixed with like a biker. I don't know. It was interesting to say the least. I always could like just the whole. He had the whole psychedelic vibe going on there, flower child kind of thing. That was pretty cool, I guess. I didn't really agree with the S. I mean, seeing was the Attitude Era, and everyone was like putting on black clothes and being all edgy and whatnot. Well, I wouldn't say it was the Attitude Era yet, because Dude Love debuted in like July '97, I think. So, I mean, well, I think that was around the time they were starting to go into a more edgy direction. And seeing a character like, a goofy character like Dude Love come out, that was very reminiscent of a few years prior with all these colorful, wacky, flamboyant characters that people were starting to get sick of. It's like, would this really work in this current climate? And, well, apparently it did. Dude Love was a hit, despite his goofiness and colorful character, he became a big hit, and everyone loved him. So, I mean, it didn't hurt to give it a shot, and his Titantron is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in the business when it comes to Attitude Era. His Titantron is just so good. He's just like green screened and just dancing in front of random stuff. It's just, oh my god. You guys need to look at this Titantron. It's just amazing. It's just green screened. It's just so, it's amazing. It's just classic. I love it. Definitely check that out. But yeah, dude, love. He was a hip cat, and the fans loved him apparently. Here's something interesting about Mick I bet you guys didn't know. His original wrestling name was not like Cactus Jack. It was actually Jack Foley. He actually debuted on WWE. That was when he went to WWF in 1996. That wasn't the first time he's ever been on WWF. He actually debuted on WWF in 1996 as Jack Foley, which is interesting. 1986. I mean, my bad. I mean, you guys probably know that, but the casual fan of wrestling probably wouldn't even know that half of these people have been wrestling for several decades before they even get on WWF or main, wrestling promos. And needless to say, the British Bulldogs absolutely decimated Foley, and I think it was Les Fortin? Yeah, it was a tag match, and the British Bulldogs were tag team champions at the time. They were really over, and they were just like massive baby faces, I believe, at the time. I could be wrong about that. I don't know, but I can't remember. I haven't really seen much 80s wrestling when it comes to like programming, like the what did they even have Raw back then? No, I don't think they did. I think it was just WWF. That was like the name of the program. I could be wrong. I don't really know much about it. But anyway, I could quickly look that up now. Let's have a look at this. WWF programming 1986. Let's see what comes up. Let me have a look here. Oh, okay. So they had like All-Star Wrestling, Championship Wrestling, Tuesday Night Titans, and all that. Yeah, they basically just had a whole bunch of different programming for WWF at the time. So that was interesting. I'm just trying to figure out the name of this. Let me just load up the match between Les Fortin, Foley, and the Bulldogs here, and just have a look at Oh, okay. So it was the very first episode of WWF Superstars, I believe, that he debuted on. So that's pretty cool. That was the name of the program that they faced the Bulldogs on. Les Fortin and Foley faced the Bulldogs on. But that's pretty cool, I guess. I should probably read up on all these old programs and whatnot. Apparently, Dominic DeNucci, the guy that trained Foley and a whole bunch of other people, actually took part in these types of squash matches, I call as jobbers, for WWF TV tapings. That's what it says here. It says, in addition to appearing in DeNucci's cards, what? And it says here, Foley and several other students of Dominic DeNucci took part in some squash matches as jobbers for WWF TV tapings of Primetime Wrestling and Superstars of Wrestling, where Foley wrestled under the name Jack Foley and Mick Foley. Okay, so he wrestled on the first episode of Superstars of Wrestling. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Which was later called WWF Superstars. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to know that Foley's career really goes back and it was pretty. Yeah, that's why I like enjoy. That's why I really love That's why I really love watching these types of documentaries, because you just learn so much about people's careers and whatnot. And I remember Mick Foley talking about how painful that match was with the Bulldogs. I think he actually dislocated his jaw as well, which that must have hurt like hell. But yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, Mick Foley's had one hell of a career, to say the least. He's been several. Whenever you want to call him Mankind, Mick Foley, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, whatever. Um, he's definitely been one of the most notable talents in wrestling. Period. And it is cool that he's still active and whatnot, but I don't know. He's kind of, as for in ring stuff, he's done. And rightfully so. The amount of pain he's put himself through is quite astronomical. But at the same time, it does kind of suck that he's done. But hey, the man's gotta, rest up. He deserves it. Anyway, that's basically all I got to say about Mick Foley. One of wrestling's most toughest SOBs, and yeah. So I guess I'll just end the podcast. I don't know. I got nothing else to talk about today. It's been fun to be able to whip these up pretty quick and get them out pretty quick. Well, as quick as I can. I don't really like making people wait when I say I'm going to do something, which is why I made that mistake I did and had to correct it in the timestamp/show notes. Like when I said Tommy Dreamer was at that show that I seen, no, he wasn't. Back in that show I seen back in 2005, but yeah, whatever. I say stupid shit sometimes. Nothing I can do about it. Whatever. I'm done with it. And we'll wrap this up. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.